replay. So, we are going to get this party started here in the next 30 seconds, and we're going to be talking about belly fat loss mistakes. Make sure the setup is good so nothing is dropping like it just did. As you guys join in, hashtag I'm here. If you're watching on replay, hashtag replay. And depending on which platform you're watching on, it says the Real Results Podcast. So we're going back live with the podcast because I've been slacking on it, admittedly. And I want to make sure that that I'm not anymore. All right, cool. Save changes. Awesome. Okay, I think I'm live now. On Facebook. So if you guys see me looking across right here, we're on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. And right here, we are on TikTok. So as you guys join in, hashtag I'm here. If you're watching on replay, hashtag replay. If you have any questions, just put them in the comments because I'm just going to be spouting out knowledge. And if you have not already, make sure to check me out on Spotify, on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, just the Real Results Podcast. All right. So today, so we're going to be starting in 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the Real Results Podcast. And on this episode, what we're going to be discussing is some of the biggest mistakes that we're doing, that you might be doing when you are trying to lose belly fat. Okay. So I'm going to give you 3 mistakes, 3 of the most common mistakes that I see when people are trying to lose belly fat, and keep this off forever because a lot of people will lose quote unquote weight but won't keep it off, or they'll lose belly fat temporarily and won't keep it off. And these are the top 3 reasons that I have found out from clients, from working with clients, from being a trainer over the last 12 years, and just from having conversations with multiple people throughout the day. So we're going to go through it one by one, and we're going to start with, and if you follow me on any platform, you know that I'm going to discuss this, or this was going to come up, is cutting carbs. Okay. Cutting carbs. So guys, when you cut carbs or any macronutrient, and what a macronutrient is proteins, carbs, or fat, if you cut any one of those directly out of your diet, you're going to lose weight because it puts you in a calorie deficit, which means that you are eating less and you are burning more. Okay. Or you're burning more than what you're eating. All right. So in particular, when you cut carbs, you're going to lose a lot of weight. Okay. You're going to lose a lot of weight, but primarily it's going to be water weight. Okay. And then when you start incorporating carbs back into your diet, you're going to gain all that water weight back. So although it's a nice temporary win, you don't get to see the actual fruits of your labor because you're just going on an extreme approach. And carbs have this bad rap, and it's been bad rap since what was before keto? What was it called? Atkins and all this stuff. But carbs get this bad rap, and carbs are actually your body's preferred energy source. So if you are just if you are just cutting out your carbs, then you have no energy in your day-to-day life. You have no energy for your family. You have no energy for your kids, your significant other. You have no energy for your workouts. That is why. Okay. So instead of cutting carbs, let's eat carbs in moderation and eat carbs from whole foods. A lot of people think like carbs are just like Pop Tarts and candy and stuff like that. Like, no, that's the reason that you're feeling tired and lethargic, because you're getting these sugar spikes. Instead, have carbs from quote unquote cleaner or healthier options, like single ingredient foods, like fruits, like vegetables, like potatoes, things that we all know are good, but we want to blame the carbs. Okay. So instead of cutting carbs, guys, I want you to eat carbs from whole foods like potatoes, from rice, from veggies. Okay. Instead of junk foods. Okay. Because if you're getting the majority of your carbs from junk foods for more energy, you're not going to have a lot of energy throughout the day. Okay. So I used to be, I teach flexible dieting to my clients. And basically that means like, I set up their nutrition plan. I set them up with a certain number of calories, certain set of macros. And when I first started, I used to be of the mindset of like, if it fits your macros and just like eat all the Pop Tarts and everything that you want. But like, um, you know, as I kind of got into the game and learned more about nutrition and whatnot, like there is a significant difference in energy if you're getting the majority of your carbs and fat from healthy fats, from eggs, from guacamole, from healthier cooking oils, from fats, from meat, as opposed to if you're getting the majority of your carbs and fat from candy bars, you know, junk food, processed food. And I'm not saying like I'm all about like having that flexible approach as far as being able to have some of this and quote unquote have your cake and eat it too. But what I am saying is to not have that be the majority of where you're getting your carbs and fat. Okay? So number 1, the biggest mistake of the biggest mistake that you're doing when you're trying to lose belly fat is you're cutting carbs. Okay. So that's number 1. Type that in the chat if you're watching on replay or if you listen to the podcast, just silently say that to yourself. So stop cutting carbs. Stop cutting carbs. Okay. Number 2 is you're just letting the diet do the work. And depending on who you go to, depending on which TikToker or which Instagrammer or trainer or YouTuber or whatever, okay, you talk to, a lot of people will say, well, you don't need to train your abs. You don't need to train your core. You don't need to train your stomach in order to see your belly fat go away or to see your midsection or see your abs. Okay. And I used to be of the same thing. Like I'm telling you guys the mistakes that I used to do so you don't have to make them. Okay. So what I used to do is just let the diet do the work. I do compound movements. I do heavy lifts. I engage my core when I squat. I do this. I engage my core when I'm doing any type of compound movement, and I don't need to train my midsection or train my abs. Okay. So here's the thing, guys. If you're lucky and you have good ab genetics, you will eventually see your abs at a low enough body fat percentage. Okay. But if you train your core directly, okay, number 1, it's not only going to help you to um, live a healthier life. It's not only going to help you to avoid injury by training your core because you're going to learn to use it more. You're going to be more in tune with your body. But you want to remember that abs, okay, are just like any other muscle. And in my opinion, they should be trained 2 to 3 times a week. The advantage of this also is if you're training your core, you're training your abs 2 to 3 times a week, that means that you will see your abs at a higher body fat percentage. If you're seeing your abs or your core at a higher body fat percentage, then you're going to be more motivated to continue going, as opposed to if you have another 7 to 10 pounds to lose in order to start seeing some definition. So in order to see some definition, in order to start seeing some outlines, in order to start doing that, you can train your core, train your abs 2 to 3 times a week. Okay. That way you could see them at a higher body fat percentage. Okay. The caveat of this is I see people going the exact opposite as well. They go on 2 extremes. They either don't train abs at all, or they're training their core and they're training their abs every single day. And in my opinion, you don't need to do that. Okay. You're just going to overwork yourself. You're just wasting time. So train your core directly 2 to 3 times a week. Okay. This way you're going to see them at a higher body fat percentage. You can let the diet do the work if you want. Okay. If you want to let the diet do the work, then cool. Let the diet do the work. But in you know, my tracker, blah, blah, blah. Words are hard. My track record, my track record with my clients, train them 2 to 3 times a week. You'll see your core, you see your abs at a higher body fat percentage. You'll get motivated and you'll keep going. Okay. So that's number two. Number two is train your abs directly. Okay. Number three, last but not least, the biggest mistake that people do when they're trying to lose belly fat is that they quote unquote eat clean. All right. So eating clean, you guys can, if you're watching on replay or listening to the podcast or whatnot, you can just think of these things out loud. So what are some things that you think of when we say eat clean, right? We think of broccoli, we think of brown rice, we think of chicken breast, we think of unseasoned and unflavored foods. Okay. And this will work if you do this for a while, right? This will work if you just kind of like cut out all the nonsense and cut out all the candy bars and cut out all that. But instead of quote unquote eating clean, I want you to start eating for your goals. Okay. What does eating for your goals mean? Eating for your goals means that you are eating enough to fuel your body, not just starve your body. A lot of us just go into, you know, I hate saying the word diet, but everyone says it. But a lot of us go into a diet and they just say like, okay, I'm going cold turkey. I'm going to run every day. I'm going to cut out all my carbs, basically do all the mistakes that I'm telling you here, right? And they quote unquote eat clean. They cut out all the junk, okay? And I'm not telling you to eat junk food, but what I am telling you is to eat for your goals instead, okay? Because when we just cut out a bunch of calories, we will lose a lot of weight, but not necessarily fat. So a simple thing that you can do is you can go on a website like caloriecalculator.net, okay, and enter some stats, and it'll tell you how much weight you're supposed to be eating to maintain and or lose your weight. Okay, now I'm giving you some general guidelines, guys. Everyone is different. Okay, so it's going to depend on how much muscle you have, your training history, how active you are in your day-to-day life, like in your job, how active you are in your work. It's going to depend on your muscle mass. It's going to depend on how much sleep you're getting, water you're getting, how many times you're working out. But this is a good general guideline that you could do. Okay, so this way you are not losing weight too quick. Type this in the chat if you're watching live, but you should be losing like a safe rate to lose weight. A safe rate to lose weight is 0.5% up to like 1.5% of your body weight per week. Okay. 0.5% to about like 1.5% of your body weight per week. So if you weigh 200 pounds, what is that? I can't math right now. What is that? Like 1 to 2.5 pounds, right? Something like that. I don't know. You guys do the math. You guys figure it out. I'm not a math major. I'm a trainer. All right. So that's it. All right. Eat for your goals. For your protein, okay? Protein is going to help keep us full. It's going to help keep us satiated. It's going to help maintain and or build lean tone, muscle, whatever you want to call it. They all mean the same thing. Lean, toned muscles, like at least 70% of your body weight. Okay. At least 70% of your body weight in grams of protein per day. At least 70% of your body weight in grams of protein per day. If you are on the heavier side, if you are considered like maybe morbidly obese or obese, then you want to lower that number closer to like 50 or 60% because it's a lot of food to take in. Okay. But this is enough for you to see your body composition change, because I don't know about you, but for me and what my clients want to achieve is, yeah, they want to see that like number on the scale move, but more importantly, they want to see their body composition change, meaning they want to see the difference in their clothes. They want to feel the difference in their clothes. They want to move like a belt notch down. Okay. We don't want this. We don't go for like the skinny fat look. Okay. So if you want to just lose weight, like just starve, any dummy can just lose weight. All right. Starve yourself, do a bunch of cardio, and you will lose weight. But if you want to actually lose body fat, we want to eat for our goals. Okay. Like we just talked about, we want to make sure that we're getting enough protein in. Okay. We're not just eating clean. We're not just cutting carbs. Okay. So getting enough protein in your diet is going to allow you to see your body composition change and aid in losing your belly fat while getting lean and toned. All of these are just words to say muscle. All right. So that is it for the Real Results podcast. If you're watching or if you are listening and you are not already, make sure to be following me on Instagram at Real Results FTNS. Real Results FTNS. On TikTok is just the whole word Real Results Fitness. And then on podcast on all streaming services, the Real Results Podcast. Thank you guys so much for tuning into today's episode. Hope you have the best day of your life. All right. That is it for today's podcast. So if you guys have any questions, again, we're on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn here. We're on Instagram here. We're on TikTok here. If you guys have any questions, put it in the chat, and I'll hang out for the next 30-ish seconds, and then we will get the show on the road. Jules, hello. Cool. Awesome, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining. Hope you guys got a ton of value, and I'll see you on the next podcast. TikTok, if you're not already following me on Instagram, go follow me on Instagram, Real Results FTNS. Instagram, if you're not following me on TikTok, go follow me on TikTok. It's Real Results Fitness. Hope you guys have a great day. I'll talk to you guys all later.